Hi, Shirley here. And I seen that some of you liked the Capricorn full moon, and I decided to try again and do a new moon video for you for the new moon in Cancer. It's going to be on the 9th of July, Friday for the USA people. I'm in the Middle East, it's going to be July 10th. And I think in Australia, I don't know. I think it's also July 10th, so I'm not sure. And so without further ado, let's share the screen. This is our new moon chart. I didn't get it by the minute. I got it by I got it by the degree, but not by the minute. You can see the moon conjuncting the sun, that's new moon. Moon opposition sun, that's full moon. Okay, and we can see the new moon is in Cancer. Immediately, you know, we have this manifest with the new moon stuff. I used to do that 2 years ago, and what I noticed is that when you begin to manifest, the cosmos will be tender with you. But the more you progress in your manifestation practices or magical practices or alchemical practices, the cosmos will require you to know more. So for me, when I see a new moon, and I see immediately that we have this T-square with Uranus, Saturn, and Mars, and we have this new moon harshly aspected by Pluto, and we have Mercury squaring Neptune, Neptune in conjunct Pluto, I see immediately that this is not a chart for manifestation. Now, if you have been doing stuff with the new moon and it's not well aspected and you're a beginner, chances are likely that you're not going to get slacked by the universe. Because in the beginning, there is some sensitivity and there are some things that you can do. But if you are exposed to this video now, it's a good chance that you're being asked or you're being initiated to know more and to know when and how to use the moon to manifest. So for me, when I see a chart of a new moon, when the new moon is not well aspected, even though it's receiving a trine from Neptune, but that's it. I see a chart that is not fit for manifestation of nearly anything. What you can do if you want to practice in this new moon is nourish your Cancer placements. Nourish, for example, I have a lunar return, so nourishing for me, it's in the 5th house. Nourishing my hobbies, relaxing, releasing stuff can be supported. Purging is excellent with Pluto. Pluto loves purging. Getting into the depth of your emotions, where the Cancer house is, what planets are there for you, what is being triggered. In Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries. This is the cardinals. So the cardinal signs, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries, that's what's being triggered in the new moon. It's not a huge triggering. New moon happens nearly every month, right? I think it's 28, 20, between 27 to 29 days. It depends on how do you count the lunations. So that's the axis that's going to be triggered. Whatever rising sun or moon you are, the houses where Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, or Aries are going to be triggered by the new moon, especially Cancer and Capricorn. So another ongoing effect is, of course, the T-square between Uranus, Mars, and Venus. The ascendant, where at the time of the new moon, which is less important because I want to talk about the whole, like the day and not just the exact transit, and Saturn. So that T-square, the resolution of it is in your Scorpio house, if it is well aspected. For me, Scorpio is the ninth house. So anything to do with studies, anything to do with teaching, even anything to do with philosophizing, anything to do with connecting with nature in safe ways, probably not traveling abroad. That's something that might work for me in the ninth. This is also the ninth, the ninth, well, for me it's the ninth third axis, but this is also the Scorpio Taurus axis. So you want to lean on your Scorpio energies if they are well aspected. If you know how to work with the planets in Scorpio, perhaps do, but only if you know what you're doing, you can perhaps connect with the planets in Scorpio at this time and maybe ask for help if they are well aspected. So that can be something you can do if you do that, if you know what you're doing, because I don't have the ability to teach you that, and I'm learning these things myself. So anything else I wanted to, okay, yeah, I noticed that Venus Uranus. Now Venus Uranus, whenever I see it, I think of love affairs that start with a spark and end with a spark, as abruptly as they started, and liberate the people having that affair. So that's definitely something that can happen. But then it's not so well supported because Uranus is having a hard aspect to Saturn, so it can be triggered by something of authority or some sort of limitations coming from your Aquarius house, and it is not so supported. So Mars energies can be annoying too there because Mars squares Uranus. So let's say if it's not something completely fated, you can skip that affair, especially with Mars in Leo. I don't like anything sexual with Mars in Leo. Like people, you know, some people have these positions natally, and of course it depends how Mars is aspected. You don't look at one placement, but if you look generally, Mars squaring Uranus, opposition in Saturn, not receiving any help from anywhere, conjuncting Venus, where Mars is hot and dry, and Venus, it kind of dries Venus up, and Venus in a fire sign, you know, Venus is, she likes earth, she likes water, she's not so happy in fire and fire. So Mars kind of eats Venus here, and it really dries things out quite quickly. So, you know, we don't want hot and dry for sexual stuff, right? We're looking for, although Mars Saturn when you, is temperature play, but Venus is not happy here. Like she's not in detriment, but she's not happy. So if you can skip that affair, definitely if you're, you know, Leo rising sun or moon, Taurus rising sun or moon, oh, that's a note to self. Aquarius rising sun or moon, if you can skip that affair or at least wait for better placements, that will be better for you. I'm absolutely not against Uranus relationships. I think they are liberating, even if they are affairs, even if they are taboo. But this is not a well supported and well aspected one. So that's another energy. The help. So the help we get from the Scorpio house, if it is well aspected in your natal chart, and you can book a reading with me if you want to. I do reading on the basis of the nation because I currently am deepening my astrological studies. So that means you come to experiment and I come to experiment, and any money you donate me will go to A, Spirit of Matter, and B, the podcasts and the channels that I have been gaining a lot of information from, and I want to give back. So that's one way you could do it if you want to book a reading with me. Another way you could do it is go to these channels that, you know, the astrology podcast, Tom Jacobs, Ksenia Moore, Lada Duncheva, who else do I mention? Heather Eland, and just go to their channels and support them for me, because right now I'm a student and I'm a broke student. But if you're watching this and you want to give back and you don't feel like you want a reading, so that can definitely be another venue for you to go. So your Scorpio house is your homeland, and or your Pisces house. Pisces is now pampered by Jupiter and by Neptune. Athena Pallas is also there. It's a good placement to be embodied. Not the best for communication, because Neptune here squares Mercury. And Neptune squares Mercury is like, it's kind of like a mini Mercury retrograde. Neptune is not a boundary placement, it's lack of boundaries. That's where its beauty comes from. But when you want something clear, communication that is clear, even though Mercury is in Gemini, that is its homeland, you want something that allows for more boundaries. And that's not something you get with Neptune. Why boundaries? Because to make something clear, it is yang energy. Okay, it is precise. For example, fluid concepts, like a word that can mean different things for different people, that's a more watery thingy, fluid concept. But when you want to get precise, you definitely don't want Neptune there. So it's not a time for clear cut and precise communication, this new moon. But it is a time to celebrate on Neptunian and Jupiterian stuff in Pisces. That means art, music, role play, escapism, dressing up, drawing, yeah, said art, pampering your feet, massaging your feet, reflexology, oiling up your feet, maybe even walking barefoot in nature, unless your feet house is aspected by some harsh Mars stuff. That can definitely be a place to escape to. So your two escapes in this lunation is the Scorpio house and the Pisces house. If that is Chinese for you and you want to know what it means in your chart, if you know a bit astrology, you can go to astro.com with the birth chart and the birth details and birth time. It will give you the houses. And if you are just want to get the fish and not learn how to fish, you can just book a reading with me. So let's begin with ascendants. I'll begin with the Cancer ascendant, and I'll try not to get confused, because last time I did it and I got confused. So that would be your 4th and 7th house. So the triggering parts are your 4th and 7th. That could be conflict with any one-to-one relationship that you have. This is not just a romantic relationship. It can also be your boss. It can also be your neighbor who lives in front of you. It can also be your roommate if you have one roommate. Those can be triggering relationships right now. They can be themes of power and feeling emotionally overpowered, or having your sense of self overpowered. It is a transient transit. You know, the moon in a day, and maybe even less than a day, is going to leave this aspect, leaving only the sun there. And the sun will take a bit more to leave this aspect. But this lunation, you want to nourish your inner planets. You want to nourish whatever you have in Cancer. You want to keep a sense of self. You want to set healthy boundaries. You want to set healthy emotional boundaries, healthy physical boundaries. And also go to your Scorpio and Pisces placement. So 7th, that would mean Aquarius is the 10th and Pisces in the 9th. So with Pisces, you can go to study something artistic, philosophical, intuit, channel, some channeling you can do with the ninth, in a place that is embodied, in a place that is nourishing you. You can go to your own little place to not just be in one, with your partner all the time. Or you can go to 7th, 6th, 5th. I'm using my fingers. I have this calculation, and I'm good with concepts. I'm not so good with, calculating numbers. So I'm going to do it like that. That way I don't get confused, hopefully. So your Scorpio house is the 5th, and you go to do some fun activity. Not gambling, but fun activity. Your hobbies. Because the 7th is not well aspected, I would not necessarily say it's a good placement for sexual activity, especially if you have themes of power with your emotions and your sense of self. It's not a good time to be sexual with someone other than yourself. But yes, do your hobbies, brace yourself with fun. Don't do so much for 7th activity. Get a bit away from your partner for a couple of days, and you will manage to reduce the stress, depending, of course, on what is being triggered in your chart. Or make sure you set very healthy boundaries. Sun opposition in Pluto is not a fun aspect. You definitely don't want it in a composite, and definitely not in a synastry. So that's for Cancer rising. Leo rising. Leo rising, you get the lunation in your 12th and 6th, and you get the T-square in your 1st and 7th, and that would put Taurus in your 10th. So you're being very highlighted too. Having Mars there in your 1st, not well aspected, and fire over fire. Even if Venus is there, Venus is not enough to nourish this placement. Venus dries out. So even though you have a Venus transit to the 1st house, she is not well aspected. You are very susceptible to get into a Uranian affair in the 10th, in your career, in your workplace, mess up with your reputation a bit. But if it's not something that's completely fated and you'd feel irresistible, if you can draw away from that, drawing away from that will be supported by Saturn. Saturn can do one of two things. One, it can keep you it can delay the Venusian stuff. If you have, for example, in the natal chart, Saturn opposition in Venus, it can delay Venusian stuff for you, including relationships, which is not a bad thing. It means that it makes sure things happen in time. So it can actually be supportive of you not ruining yourself up with unsavory romance, or spending of resources to do with work, because Venus is also resources, although the 1st house is the body. So we're talking about bodily stuff here. Saturn here can also give longevity to a troubled relationship. Okay, because usually with Uranian relationships, we want to have a Saturnian effect so that they can be long lasting. But with this T-square, unless other aspects are really supportive, this can actually give longevity to an unhealthy relationship dynamic that will mess up with your reputation. So do be careful, especially, having Mars there. Fire planet with the fire sign is not happy. So you definitely want to be careful around these transits, and they are a bit longer than just the moon. That's for Leo rising. I'm trying to say something nice to you where you want to go. So you want to go to Scorpio. That means it's the 7th, so 6th, 5th, 4th. You want to go home. You want to stay at home. You want to maybe, if you can work from home, that might mitigate something for you, that might mitigate the T-square. Working from home is very much supportive. We have Uranus technology, and you have the home here. So working from home, working through Zoom can be something that you want to do with this lunation. And you have, this is the 7th. Okay, then this is the 8th house. Okay, the 8th house is not the house that you can go to for, you know, maybe studying occult or channeling. That's like the only thing. But with channeling, you still have to be careful because Neptune is squaring Mercury. So the data you may get in channeling will not be the best. 8th house, I know modern astrologers treat it as a sex house. Traditionally, or at least in Hellenistic tradition, which is what I've learned when I learned to separate houses from signs, thanks to the astrology podcast, they would treat it as mutual resources and the gate of life and death. So depth, resources you have with your partner, they would treat it that way. If I look at it from another perspective, I can say that the sex you have in the 8th house drains energy from one another. So you become drained energetically rather than becoming rejuvenated energetically. Why? Because it draws on the resources of others. It means that you need to nourish yourself so you can nourish each other. It's not something that cannot work, but it is very susceptible to codependency. It is very susceptible to later abuse and all that kind of stuff. Although with Jupiter here, with Neptune, it's not Pluto here, but it can be that placement. So it's not for you, Leo rising. Go home. Don't go here. I know there's Jupiter, there's Neptune. No, go home. Go home, do something at home, work from home, take care of your home. If your home is well placed, that can be the result, something good to do for you. Virgo rising. So Virgo rising, maybe now I should say that you read horoscope by rising sign. If you have no rising sign because you have no exact birth time, then if you were born at night and you know you were born at night, you go by the moon. If you were born in the daytime, you go by the sun first and then the moon. If you don't know it at all when you were born, so you can do rising, moon, and then sun. The moon is internal, your inner stuff. The sun is more your radiance and sense of self. So that is, it can also work. It works the best with the rising. Why? Because the rising gives us the houses. We calculate the houses according to where the rising sign is. That being said, Virgo rising. So Virgo rising, lunation happens in your 11th and 6th. And you have the T-square in your 12th. No, 11th and 5th. And you have the T-square in your 12th, 6th, and 6th, 7, 8, 9, and 9th. Okay, that would mean your escape houses are your 3rd. So if your 3rd is well aspected, you can meet with your neighbors, you can meet with your siblings, you can do short-term travel if well aspected. You can do daily routine stuff like repeated routines. So you can write a blog, although write an artistic blog, a creative blog, not so much something where you need clarity, because Mercury is squaring Neptune, which is like an effect of Mercury retrograde a bit. Some communication gets foggy, but it can get artistic, it can get creative, just not very literal. So anything you do there can be supportive of you. Your Pisces house is your 7th. So for you, unlike previous ascendants, actually doing something nice with your partner or one-to-one relationships, that can be very supported as long as you don't need clear communication, as long as the communication is not so much the matter. So this is actually not so good for sexual activity because communication is not supported. You need clear communication for being sexual, but you can definitely do something fun, like you know, I don't even watch Netflix together, like yeah, even watch Netflix together, even, you know, doing something creative together, something where you don't need clear communication, but you can enjoy together with your partner. Give each other foot massage. That can definitely be nice. The feet, Pisces. That can definitely. Okay, I had a very horrible, I had a very horrible joke about Scorpio and siblings that you don't want to go to. Yeah, I'm being inappropriate now. So giving each other foot massage can be very good. That would Virgo. So for Virgo, the harshest stuff you experience is actually, you know, the 6th and the 12th, the 6th, no, the 11th and the 5th, and the 6th and the 12th. So take good care of your health during the whole T-square thingy, which is going to be with us also in August. Yeah, it's going to be, it's, well, I'm trying to think about that. Yeah, it's, I'm not sure it's going to be throughout the whole, we might get some, oh, the Mars is going to opposite Saturn. Yeah, we don't, I think the Sun is going to be there. So even through August, it's not going to be easy for you. Anything to do with your health, nourish yourself, oil yourself up. That means if your diet allows nuts and seeds and carrier oils, healthy carrier oils, avocados or whatever, if your diet allows, see an ND for that. I'm not an ND myself, and I don't know you, so I cannot look at you holistically, but oil yourself up if you can, if your diet allows. Also, drink. So you want to do both drinking and oiling up, and turmeric is very good for that. Also for your Leos, turmeric is very good for that because it allows the water to absorb, to be absorbed in your body and stay there. So you will need to maintain your health here, both your mental, your nervous system, psychological, and your physical. You're going to need that. And when it comes to the 5th, 11th, you've been having quite harsh times with Pluto in the 11th for a while now, a couple of years, since 2008. And now it's retrograde, so you're dealing, you're closing up, you're finishing something up again. And your 5th is not happy. So it's not the best time to do hobbies unless you're doing it in 7th house placement with your partner. But it's not such a good time for fun. Let's just say it that way. Definitely not the time for gambling on this new moon. Yeah, anything else I want to say? Nothing much. Your ruler is not well aspected. It is it's trining Jupiter, but is squaring Neptune. So communication, right, is not well aspected. Your thinking processes are challenged. But you do want to go to the Piscean energy, spend time with people who have prominent Piscean energies, listen to music from people who have Piscean energies, just get some Piscean energy into your life during this lunation. Ascendant Libra. So for Ascendant Libra, you've been having not the easiest of time with Chiron in your 7th for a while now, and you will continue to have this. This is, yeah, so the house is triggered for you in this lunation, and I'm going to use my fingers again. So this is 1st, this is 12th, this is 11th. So you have the 11th, 5th that are triggered for you, and you have the 10th and 4th. So you don't want to run home. You're on, okay, your second, and your 4th, 5th, 6th. Okay, sixth. Sixth is not exactly a great house to escape to. And second is like, you know, possessions, money, but it is a sense of self-worth. The second is also a sense of self-worth. Um, although its ruler Mars is not well aspected now, so it's not so well supported, you may still want to do everything that nourishes your sense of self-worth. Now with Scorpio here and bodily stuff, that can be sexual, not necessarily with another person. You definitely don't want to be sexual with another person if your sense of self-worth is not established. But definitely nourishing your sexuality, nourishing all things Scorpio in your life. This is not a good time for initiation or business initiation. But it can be, no, it's not a good time for business initiation. It can be actually a good time perhaps to let go of possessions, because whenever I see Mars harshly aspected, I say let go of something. So maybe things that you own that you can donate can be a good remediation for that. So that's for Libra. Libras are not having an easy time because when you don't have so much to escape, you know, sixth house, the only thing I can say with sixth house is if you have a pet, you can be playful with your pet, that can be supported. If you have work that does not require too much communication, you perhaps can be pleased at your work, at your day-to-day job, at the service you do for others. Yeah, that can be encouraged here. If your work is to do with helping society, that can be encouraged. To be of service, to be of good service, that can be supported by this. So that's the lunation for you. Ascendant Scorpio. So Ascendant Scorpio, you have been having Uranus in your seventh house for a while now. So relationships have been wild. And with this, you know, T-square and Venus involved, you may be drawn to look for love in all the wrong places, impulsively. I still think there is always a liberating factor to Uranus. But again, if it's not something fated, that's not the time for that. It can be actually a good time to end an unhealthy relationship. Why? Because we have the aspect with the Mars, action aspect with the Mars that can end and sever things, and action aspect with Saturn that can definitely bring things to an end. So if you want to get rid of an unhealthy relationship that you've been trying to break up from, and it is time for you, that can definitely be supported by this new moon. It can definitely be supported by this new moon. That would mean your, okay, ascendant. That would mean your 10th. Leo is your 10th, and Aquarius is your 4th. So career, home life, and your partnerships are very triggered. Who do you go back to? Yourself, your boundaries, your body. This is where I say, nourish yourself, set boundaries on this lunation. In general, throughout this aspect, set boundaries, take time to nourish your body. Scorpio here, yes, self-pleasure. I speak about these things because these are important. It can give you rejuvenation. It can give you expression, sex chakra, throat chakra. The throat chakra is very challenged, so you want to heal your ability to express yourself, to set boundaries, to release this tension and this conflict. You need to be in yourself. You need to stand in your own body and be grounded, which is not easy because you have so much tension going on with others. But this can be actually a good lesson for you. It can be something that liberates you, where you decide that you are not your work and you are not what's happening at home. And you are not your reputation. You are yourself. You can be liberated from the matters of these houses holding you down. But this liberation is not going to be smooth and easy. So you definitely want to go back to you. And let's look at the Pisces house. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th house. Okay. 5th house hobbies are supported for you. Again, I would not do sexuality when Neptune is in a harsh aspect to Mercury, because we need communication for sex. We need very clear communication for sex, especially the type that Scorpio likes. Just saying. So not necessarily sexuality, but yes, every fun activity that is Piscean, role play, acting, watching a good show, watching a good movie, listening to music, that can be very liberating for you. That can be very relaxing for you now. You definitely want to nourish yourself and do something fun with yourself. I would not go right now on dates. I would not go right now with my partner. This is a very good time to take yourself on a date with yourself. That is very supportive. Okay, I'm getting better in this moon stuff. Ascendant Sag. So Ascendant Sag, this thingy is happening in your 2nd and 8th house. So your values and resources versus other values and resources, and in your 3rd and 9th, which is annoying for Sag because Sag loves the 9th. And so 3rd and 9th, which are in a T-square with your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with your 6th house. So 3rd, 9th, and 6th. Yeah. The day-to-day work is troubling, and relations with siblings or neighbors bring tension to your life, and going out and socializing and studying is not the outlet. The outlet that you would probably want to go to is also a source of tension in your life now. With this lunation, you go. So and then Scorpio is like your 12th, and 2, 3, 4, and Pisces is your home. So your home, as long as you don't have to communicate clearly, is very pleasant now. So do something lovely with your home. Stay at home. Be present at home. And for 12th house activities, if you enjoy channeling and you have a disposition for channeling and you know how to ground yourself well and have good energy boundaries and discernment, definitely tapping into unconsciousness, tapping into collective unconsciousness, tapping into that which is scorpionic. Again, you need to see what's in there if it's well aspected. Also, yeah. Your 7th, again, because of Mercury there, your 7th is not so supported for intimate stuff, which you could do it's definitely bedroom placement, a secluded placement that you could do, but the Mercury is not supportive. Trying to think. Yeah, so just, it's something you do with yourself, where you enter the void, maybe enter a certain meditation where you communicate with your guides, channel. No, do take into account that the messages that you're receiving, because Neptune is also part of that void where we channel something beyond us, is not well aspected by Mercury. But if it's just something creative that you channel, if it's just something that you do with yourself and you don't have to, for example, I wouldn't channel science on that day. But other things can be very much supported. Capricorn. And you do have Juno in your sorry, for Sag rising, you do have Juno in your first. And Juno, let's see the aspects it's creating. Sextiling the ascendant of sextiling Neptune, sextiling Saturn. Juno is actually pleasant. It's not causing any trouble. But if you have a transit that brings a Juno person in your life, I would not establish anything on this particular chart. Capricorn ascendant. So for Capricorn ascendant, the lunation happens in your first and seventh. You are the Pluto person. This usually, when you are the Pluto person and the Pluto is in your first, it rejuvenates you, your body, your sense of self, your life path when you have ascendant there. It can also cause you to be the overpowering person in the dynamic, dependent on the natal aspects, with someone in the seventh, with another person you have one-to-one relationship with. So you want to beware, actually, not to be overpowering. You want to beware of not being in a position where you are crossing boundaries. You want to be authentic in your communication, which is not supported by Mercury, Neptune. And you want to stay in your, maybe stay in your work. Working out late can actually support that. And for you, yeah, second, third. Or connect with siblings and neighbors, or do daily routines, like daily rituals that you do for yourself. Write a creative blog, do something creative that you do regularly. So if you're writing creative blogs or doing something special like that, that can definitely be supported by the third. And your 10th, no, your 11th, I'm sorry, your 11th is supported as well. So social media, connect with people on social media. Depending, the ruler of this placement is now in an unhappy place, but still you want to release the tension. You do want to make sure that it's not something where you have to communicate clearly. So if you connect with people or groups around art, around recreational stuff, that can be supported, where you don't need too much clear communication. And you have the T-square in your second, 8th, and 10th. No, second, 8th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 5th, sorry. So 5th, and the resolution is in the 11th. So you go to the 11th. Your colleagues, your friends, your people you maybe volunteer with on some social humanistic cause, although that is not necessarily the case, because humanistic stuff is usually Aquarius and Scorpio is something different. That can be the resolution for these 2nd, 8th, 10th that are very much in tension for you. So anything around resources, your resources, other people's resources, your career is very much, and the same is the way I said for Ascendant Leo, the same cautionary statement around relationships at your workplace is very much valid. This is your 10th. No, this is your wait, one, two, three, fourth. This is your fourth. Not your 10th, but it is something that can shake your fourth. So, you know, when something is fated, it is fated. It's better to go all the way in to come on all the way out. But if it's not fated, avoid Venus, Uranus stuff. It's not supported, not going to do you well. And you have Saturn there, which is going to make it difficult to get out of it. So that is for Capricorn ascendant. Aquarius ascendant. Aquarius ascendant, you have the T-square right on your first and seventh and fourth. Oh, now I have the numbers. I don't have to calculate it in my head. That's so easier. That's so much easier. Oh gosh. So you don't have to, yeah, you have this first, seventh, and fourth, and the resolution is in the 10th. So your career, your social reputation, your social standing, the way you're being representative in the world, the way you stand out publicly. You might want to refresh on that. The ruler is, again, is not supported, but still you want to connect with your 10th house. It's going to be easier than trying to work this out. And your second house, which is not much to say about that because it's like it's the second. But self-worth issues, nourishing your self-worth, anything that nourishes your self-worth and cause you to feel good about yourself, that can definitely be a place to take care of, especially when you have something like your first and seventh and fourth triggered. So you want to go back to you, but if you go back to you trying to do Aquarius things, you're triggered. If you go back to you trying to nourish maybe your body, maybe your confidence, even, you know, I'm affirmations can be problematic, but if you are the type of person that affirmations, self-affirming statements speak to and work with, that can be, because Jupiter is supportive of affirmations of consciousness change, consciousness change around your sense of self, and it's actually enshrined with Mercury. So this is something that does not require clear communication, but it can be speaking, saying nice words to yourself, nourishing yourself, nourishing your sense of self through consciousness, and not so much through Aquarius things. So that, I believe, sums up the ascendants, and you have the axis of your 12th and 6th activated. So nourishing your health and well-being. So any practice you can do for self-love. Look in the mirror. When I think of Pisces, it definitely can be a mirroring thing. There's this Louise Hay practice of looking in the mirror, telling yourself that you love yourself, looking into your eyes. That can be a very good practice. It's not an easy one, but it can be a very good practice during this time, during the whole T-square thingy. To remind yourself that you are loved, to remind yourself that your values have a place in the world, which is supported by Jupiter, that your voice has a place in the world, because right now your significant other and your family it cannot be there for you. They're in conflict with you. Maybe they're in conflict with themselves. Your home life is very unsupportive. It's very fragile. It's very, you know, of course there is this support from the moon to Uranus, but it's a T-square. So you definitely want to hone in on that second and that 10th if it's allowed. The second is better than the 10th because the ruler of the second is well aspected, but the ruler of the 10th is not. So you definitely want to hone in on that Pisces house. That's it for the 12 ascendants. Yay, I made another new moon video. I'm proud of myself. I want to do some card stuff. So I'm not going to tap into the energy of the new moon, but I'm actually going to ask my beautiful cards to receive some empowering message, a general empowering message for the new moon. I might do one separate for the 12 ascendants, but you need to ask for it. If you ask for it, I'll do it. So the cards I use are called Marilyn cards, and they are to do with Marilyn, thoughts, Saint Germain, Hermes, consciousness, very mercurial. And what I like about them is that they always have an empowering message. So even if I'm not the clearest of channels, and you know that it was not my spirit guide, but just opening a card, it's still supportive of you. It's still something you can take with you along the way. It's not tarot, where if I pull the wrong cards, I can slice your psyche apart with bad analogies and tough visuals that would put you in unnecessary worry. So it's not. There are knives I'm expert in. That's not a knife I'm an expert in. So I take smooth and easy cards. So I'll ask for the cards for some supportive. Boom, that was quick. Messages for the new moon. Agree to deliver knowledge to others. Agree to deliver knowledge to others. So maybe if you are doing, this is for those of you who are teaching, who are delivering knowledge, or public speakers. Agree to deliver knowledge. Maybe you're not so confident in what you have to give or what you have to say. Just say it. Take a spark of inspiration from me and do something new. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to speak up. Try it on. Deliver your knowledge. You may know more than you think you know, and your knowledge can be helpful for people. To really commit. This is one of the scariest. Okay, to really commit, you can see that they have the hand here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so you can see what I'm showing you. The heart here is like commitment that comes from the heart. So find a place where your heart is committed and nourish that. Yeah, that's a good one. Open a new page. I think about the Uranus thingy, because Uranus is liberating. And you have a good chance, some of you have a good chance to end things in your T-square houses where Uranus, Saturn, and Mars are. That's the Leo, Taurus, and Aquarius houses in your chart. Some of you have good chances to, maybe not immediately, but end things there. End what no longer serves. Let go of what no longer serves. Both Saturn and Mars love to let go. Uranus, it just swirls everything around, and you know, so let go of something. Open a new page someplace in your chart. Okay, this is a tricky one. It's get rid of the need to protect yourself. The way I interpret this card is basically to ground yourself, because when you are grounded, you are nurtured and protected. So definitely ground yourself. We have, you know, the T-square is activating. We have Uranus on an earth sign, which is shaking the ground. We have fire and air, which are not so grounding. And the resolution for the T is in Scorpio, which is water. So you definitely need to ground. You definitely need to add earth element with the support of your ND to your nutrition. Earth element practices. You can walk barefoot in nature if your chart supports that. If you're, you know, if you have Mars badly aspected in Pisces, you might not want to do that. But if your chart is supportive of that, walk barefoot in nature, give yourself foot massage, do anything that grounds you in the body. That is going to help you feel less vulnerable and more safe, and not need other protection mechanism that you may otherwise be using, like addictions, like aggression, like pleasing others, and so on and so forth. That's how I look at this card. Oh, giving up self-punishment. That's a beautiful one. Nourishing you. Speaking lovely words to yourself. I mentioned that when I talked about Jupiter in Pisces. Speak tenderly to yourself. Speak lovingly to yourself. Speak compassionately to yourself. Compassionately. You know, Jupiter trine Mercury, when Jupiter in Pisces, speak to yourself in compassionate words. Very helpful. And connect with nature. So these are connecting with nature. You can also do through meditation. If you are in, I don't know, in a lockdown or something, maybe you're watching from Australia. I know they had a lockdown, or you can't come out of the house, or you may be having autoimmune disease and you can't come out of the house because it's not safe yet. So connecting with nature can also be if you have plants at home, if you have crystals at home, or meditation or herbs that you use. That is also a way to connect with nature even if you are at home. So that is very much supported by this new moon in Cancer. If you like this type of videos, let me know in the comments below what your ascendant is, what houses does the new moon fall in your chart. If you like more videos like this, if you want me to do cards for the 12 ascendants, I can do that. And a word from me, if you want to book a reading with me, that is possible. And also, if you want to go on the channels that I received a lot of knowledge from and donate them, that can very much be of help, of kindness for me, because I currently cannot be in a position where I can donate the money. So that would be Lada Duncheva, the Astrology Podcast, Heather Eland, Tom Jacobs, Ksenia Moore, which also offers lovely readings. Any of those could definitely be of great help for you. Other astrologers that I like are Raquel Spring, Victor. Oh, Victor from Lada's channel, great, also Hellenistic astrologer. He combines methods. I saw Sveti there, is beginning to gather crowd, and she's great. Donnie Lim does psychic stuff. So if you're into clairaudience, clairsentient, knowing about the clairs, Donnie Lim's channel is a great one to go to. Yeah. And that's it. If you want more videos from me, if you want more videos about new and full moon, speak up. Speak up in likes, speak up in comments, connect, express your voice. And you can find me on Twitter. It's Tali Shear. On Instagram, it's Shirley Youngblood. And Facebook, that's Shirley Youngblood, Shirley Tali Youngblood. And I'm going to put the names down below in the comment section. Anything else I want to say? Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share. I do, for this channel, I mainly do Spirit of Matter, which is taking charts of famous people related to science, related to cosmology, but also related to culture and other fields of knowledge, and dissecting their charts live. So basically open up Wikipedia, read about the person, make prediction, see if those predictions were out, and analyze the chart that I do get. So that's one part of Spirit of Matter, and the other is me doing channeling / cosmology myself and playing around. This is my little space. So I can be shiny here where and be totally present with my clients when I'm with my clients. This is where I do inappropriate stuff. So I'll see you in my next Spirit of Matter or astrology videos, and wish you all the best. Thank you.